Welcome to the MetsBlog Round Table, brought to you by RAM. I'm Matthew Cerrone from MetsBlog.com, and I'm joined again by Marc Carig from Newsday, Pete McCarthy from WOR, and Anthony DiComo from MLB.com. There you go.
Hey.
So we've talked about a variety of topics. This time I want to tackle second base because it's an interesting situation. The Mets have Dilson Herrera, who we've been watching here for a couple years, and Neil Walker, who's new. I only know of him a little bit, watched some Pirates games just a little bit, but not an expert in Neil Walker. So, I'm not sure what to expect from him this season and, what happens beyond that. So, just give me your thoughts on Neil Walker and what you think he'll do for this team in this market, going from Pittsburgh to New York, dealing with you guys. What do you think?
I think Neil Walker's kind of Daniel Murphy without the rough edges. He's going to give you a little more power. He's going to play better defense. And he's been really consistent over the course of his career, right? So as long as he stays healthy, and you can say that about anyone, I think he's going to be what you had, maybe plus 10%, say.
How about in the field? Defensively, I feel like that's the real potential upgrade, right?
For sure. And listen, I don't think he's going to be Brandon Phillips out there, but he's better than what you had as far as starting second baseman go. I think he's at least average. I think he could probably be better than average, and that is definitely an upgrade. As far as long-term, if things go according to plan, and that's always a big if, right? He's probably only here for 1 year because you have a guy in Dilson Herrera who very well might be big league ready right now, and we're not going to get to find out. But if he has another strong half season in the first half at Las Vegas, you got to give that guy a shot at some point. They love his ceiling. So I think if all goes according to plan, you got 1 year of Walker, and it's probably going to be a pretty good year.
That's a key part of this. It's Daniel Murphy without the rough edges, like you say, also without the strings attached. The lack of commitment past this year means that Herrera's got an open shot at it, and I think within the organization, that's what they want to happen. They want to give this guy a shot. Now you've bought him a year to develop, which is good. Okay, it's always good to do that. You're not forcing him into a situation where he's got to produce right away. And then on top of that, you got yourself arguably an upgrade on both sides, at the plate and in the field. So, that's critical, I think, the fact that it is a 1 year stopgap situation. You don't have any of that risk of committing to somebody long term like they would have had they tried to, re-sign Murph.
Yeah, it would be nice if you could platoon him, too. He really struggled against the lefties. You have Wilmer Flores, who's going to be in the super utility role.
So,
if you're healthy with David Wright at third base and you have the ability to play Flores in a lot of different spots, it just goes to show. Flores can have a big role on this team and find some at-bats at a couple of different spots.
The number of different lineups that they're going to use this year is going to be remarkable. I don't know what the record is, but I got to think they'll come pretty close.
Yeah, a lot of people looked at their offseason, and it wasn't very, intriguing, per se, until they got Cespedes. But I thought it was still a pretty good one in that, they got that depth. Even without Cespedes, if they hadn't brought him back into the fold, that's a pretty deep lineup, or deep roster, I should say, where you can mix and match, you can play matchups, you can, maximize the lefty-righty thing. There's a lot of things that you can do, and part of that versatility, I think, would be huge for this team, given some of the question marks. We talked about David Wright earlier. Having a guy like Wilmer Flores is enormous for this team, and even in regards to second base, as a possible platoon guy, there's a lot of possibilities. I think they were smart to do that.
But none of that works if you don't have some rocks in the middle of it, and I think Neil Walker is one of those rocks for this season. I think his dribble Cabrera has a chance to be one of those rocks. If things go right, those two will get the lion's share of playing time in the middle infield. And not to say Wilmer Flores won't get plenty of starts. He will, but those are the guys that you're really counting on to be productive.
What I like about them is they know the position, specifically Cabrera. He may not be a Gold Glove winner, but he knows where to be for the cutoff. He knows how to swipe a tag. That stuff is important, especially with this pitching staff. So that
seems pretty basic.
It does seem well.
I know where we're coming from. It's a whole new world out there with these guys, and that's a big thing. This Mets team has gone years playing guys out of position. Daniel Murphy was sort of the poster child for all of that. Played his whole career out of position, and now they don't have to do that anymore. Second
base has not historically been the best long-term position for the Mets. They've really struggled, I think, since Fonzie really is a homegrown guy that they really took pride in. But is Dilson Herrera the future at the position? Just real quick, yes or no? Do you buy Dilson Herrera?
He's got the bat. I really, truly believe this kid's going to hit in the big leagues, and I think he'll be good enough defensively. Now, you just got to make that leap. It's tough to do going from AAA to the majors. I'm not saying you can't, but we're going to have to see it. I think he certainly has the potential to be that guy.
Yeah, I like his pop. I mean, that's one thing that I think he's shown. He's not a big guy. You don't look at him and say, hey, this could be a big homer guy. But
he is built.
He's hit with some power since he's been up when he's had opportunities. So I think he's definitely worth another look.
Yeah, definitely. I like him. Reasons you guys mentioned. Also, makeup-wise, I think the kid's receptive to coaching. Spending some time around him during his call-ups and in spring training. I think he's pretty impressive as somebody of that age that you can see is like trying to get better, that's listening, that's recognizing his mistakes, and then working on him. I think that's a big deal when you're talking about a guy in his part of his career where it could go one of two directions. I think there's a lot of things in his corner as far as him taking off and being someone they can go to in the long term.
I mean, people uniformly love him, so we'll see. I mean, they need it. he's an exciting player. I think fans are going to love him when he does catch.
Tough to be universally loved.
Yeah,
in this
I mean,
town.
it's seriously. It's hard to talk to anybody that really isn't like, oh no, he's going to be good. Give him time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Thanks, guys. Remember, bookmark sny.tv and MetsBlog.com for more roundtable videos and full coverage of Mets spring training in Port St. Lucie, Florida.